Hiya, Hinsters. So I'm trying something new this time with the virtual background, just because you don't want to see my laundry. But yeah, hiya, Hinsters. I hope you are keeping well. Happy Cancer season and summer solstice here. If you are, by the way, a Cancer sun, I do offer 50% off my sun sign and solar return reports just for you, Cancers, all Cancer season. Check out the description below if you are interested. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I am Hinny, a spiritual astrologer. I work with the seasons. I offer tarot and birth chart and other types of reading. So yeah, welcome. Do subscribe and like if you enjoy my content. Have a nice cup of coffee, which you probably can't see, but hope you have a nice beverage as well. So we have the full moon in Capricorn, June 24th, quite soon, between around 7:30, 8:30 p.m. UK time. You can check out my video on new and full moons if you like. But yes, this full moon in the cardinal earth sign Capricorn is going to be happening at 3 degrees, quite the Capricorn number. I also pulled the 8 of Cups when I started channeling for this video. Let me see if I can show you this. Yes, you can see this is the 8 of Cups from the Rider-Waite tarot deck. You can see that there. 8 of Cups. So that's the card I sort of pulled for this full moon. And so, yeah, one of the first things I got for this full moon is that if something big in our life shatters, or if it's already shattered, that we have to let it be, because this shattering is more about learning something than the shattering itself. And some of us are going to be pushed a little more until we acknowledge where we've gone wrong or where we are going wrong. Or, around this full moon, where we went wrong will be made known, and we will then have like some power or power boost to put that behind us and to put some happiness first, to start putting happiness in front of us. And yes, the moon is said to be uncomfortable in Capricorn, but we've had Saturn retrograding in Aquarius, and a lot of odd things are happening, including actually a continuation of good things for some people happening, if or when we are willing to move on from the less good things. So yeah, in the realms of work as well, effort and time, we're being urged or pushed to finish something, then to let it be, just let it be. So yes, Capricorn is always prodding us to complete tasks, and especially if our reputation is on the line. But again, there's this weird dynamic right now where we're being a little disobedient. And interestingly, this is part of something bigger. It's a bigger give and take dynamic. And so interestingly, this disobedience kind of gets a pass. And as I mentioned in a previous video, there is a lot of role reversal going on now, where the rule books and the rulers are sort of being toyed with, and the rulers themselves are sort of being a bit naughty in some way. We are being a bit naughty. I feel also that some of us around this full moon will be realizing something about those big patterns of the past, big baggage that just needs to be left behind again. And I'm talking about a hollow sort of baggage too. One that we should have learned from and moved on from ages ago, but for some reason we want to keep this baggage, keep these shells. That's the image I have, shells, hollow shells. Even though it's literally useless. These things are literally useless. And Capricorn will often make us see the futility of certain sentiments as well, especially if our sentimentality is unrequited or is keeping us stunted. I think also now that we have a big chance, some of us, to rebuild a certain dream. But it takes a lot of work. Capricorn, the number 3 as well, the 3rd degree, is that energy of the effort put in and the work done. And Cancer and Capricorn are dark inward energies. And Capricorn especially has been bringing us a load of these sort of too good to be true people, opportunities, situations. But perhaps now we are seeing that some things are just as good as they are seeming, and that we were just the ones threatening to sort of sabotage the goodness or sabotage ourselves. And some of us are also getting this big event or emotional experience that forces us to accept that we can't look back anymore, that we can't hang back in the shadows or stay back when something needs to be asserted or worked on. And as usual with these Capricorn energies, there's a lot of magic actually to be had from simply putting in that effort and the elbow grease. This is really majorly important, I feel, right now for some of us, especially if we've remained quite stuck in ruts and not been taking those chances. Now, of course, Capricorn often has this devilish cosmic joker side to it, this irony to it, and some of us might experience a sort of, I can only term it as like a deflated reception around the full moon. And we have to be careful when we chase things like familial lines and lineages or ideas too literally or too status orientedly, because we might not like the reality of what we come to find or achieve. It's sort of like, sometimes we imagine like some great or exotic ancestry only to find that, for example, your parents were Nazis. It's that kind of cruel joke, cosmic joke thing that can happen when we chase something too outside of ourselves or too an ideal construction of ourselves. And sometimes we get bored as well, or we take for granted the paths that we're walking in this moment, or we are sometimes obsessed with the idea that we are defined by some familial substance or status, and not actually just by our individual spirit or spiritual experience. Evolutionary practices and extreme light work, all this kind of stuff actually can put us on paths that give us something that is a bit more of a cruel or cosmic joke reality returned. But anyway, they can also be some big realities for others to swallow right now, where we are forced to accept that which we wanted to control. And we have to accept it now. We can't control it now because something that we wanted to control manifests within our literal family. It's like, a fascist whose child becomes like a very successful drag queen or something like that. And a whole table gets turned and flipped, and it no longer really matters like what oppressive thing someone thinks or feels, because the chain between family and foundation, that imaginary chain, by the way, is made very blurry or is broken somehow. So that's also what the full moon in Capricorn can do. But also with Saturn and Aquarius, again, some odd things happening. Also in terms of hurrying along our investments, these like really weird things can happen. But we've also got, this Cancerian energy, which makes us wary about things like purchasing stuff like that, investing. But a sudden circumstance forces us to make the purchase anyway, especially if it is in reality the best thing or the mature thing to do. It's just something that we've been holding off, you know. We might not like parting with money now, for example, but it could be for our own good. And so again, there can be that release of funds or money for some people. And also we might not be able to rely on things like the generosity of some gatekeeper type of person. And we sort of begrudgingly have to swallow pride and fend for ourselves in some way. The solstice also brings release. It's a kind of bye-bye to shadow worlds for now, with a focus on the light and how it will conquer and fortify for us. But of course, as each season comes, we will be talking about the dark as well, and how we can't just forget about that in the light. But with this number 3 energy as well, we have to bear in mind and in heart that we get exactly what we give. And that in many ways we're beginning with brand new slates, with things, these Cancerian, Capricornian things like family, friends, brand new long-term patterns as well are coming in. And I've talked a lot about leaving things behind, and we also have to leave fears behind, not just things or people, but fears, especially fears of things like being in public or speaking up or being complimented or credited even. Mars in Leo is also encouraging us to be a bit prouder and to not downplay ourselves so much, which is something that Capricorn energy can cause us to do. Capricorn can sometimes want us to squash down. I think also that we run the risk of getting into those Cancerian, more sticky, difficult bonds with those gatekeeper types, police officers, bosses, fathers, where we get tangled in things which take more time and energy than it's really worth. So if it's possible, I think we have to release that which is really going to tax us and potentially give us a bad or worse name later down the line. Not everything needs to be reported, or not everything needs to be honored. Not every space commands your authority, and definitely not like your hero moves. Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. Again, every rebellious or righteous thing has to have an actual bigger picture cause. It can't be petty or trendy or like overly injected with something outward or masculine. Will only end up being ignored or frowned upon, or they'll be like a reluctant audience, especially with Mars in Leo. Now, I do think with the full moon in Capricorn trining Jupiter in Pisces, that this could be quite special as well, quite nice, because Jupiter does rule trines, this very special aspect, and Jupiter is actually exalted in Cancer. So we have a sort of relief potential here, a sort of relief signal being sent from Jupiter. Big potential for culmination of the good times, feeling the greatness of some relationship or some family that you're a part of, or feeling the satisfaction from the home or your nest or your baby, or something that you've built or cozied up. There's a feeling, a great like gushing even. That kind of emotional culmination can be happening. And also the spoils of commitment can also be abundantly felt at this time. It doesn't have to be like a romantic or relationship commitment, but commitment itself to something, the sweat and tears committed to something. There could be some, again, culmination, good feels about all the spoils that come from that. And I feel a lot of us will be pushed or pulled along into familial situations where we're accepted or approved of somehow, although we may still feel like unready or uncomfortable because this is Capricorn energy, moon in Capricorn, uncomfortable. But we're goaded anyway. Capricorn goads you, the goat goads you into things anyway. It's like, you know, when you're a child and your parent or whoever pushes you like into the center of the room or in front of a group of adults to show you off or to have you demonstrate something. And as excruciating as that can be in the moment, that's kind of a Capricorn Cancer axis energy. And there is a certain kind of love being expressed in that moment, in that action, which we might not appreciate then, but only in hindsight. So yeah, anyway, let me know in the comments where you have 3 degrees Capricorn in your birth chart and which house you have it in. And I hope to hear from you. And I hope that you also have a beautiful Cancer season. I love you very much. Ta-ta.